Let me introduce you to an app that we love called Anchor. Anchor allows you to create and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. We use Anchor to create our podcast, and it makes it so easy for us to do. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello and welcome to A Bit Above Podcast.
I'm Audra.
And I'm Hadassa, and we are two average women living oceans apart. Our show displays a reachable lifestyle where we work to be better versions of ourselves in our day-to-day life. We know that the constant strive for perfection can lead to anxieties and disappointment, so we make changes that enhance our lives without giving up the things we love. Join us each week as we chat about motherhood, positivity, feel-good stories, relationships, and everything in between. Audra, did you just put lotion on your eyebrows?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you normally put lotion on your eyebrows?
Yeah, because you got to think, lotion makes everything soft. So when you put it on your eyebrows, it keeps all your little hairs in place and keeps them super, super soft.
Do you have a flavored lotion? Like not flavored, a scented lotion?
Yeah, it's, of course, Waikiki Beach coconut.
So you think that putting scents on your face is like gonna be good for your face?
Oh, no, but it's on my eyebrows. There's no pores on the...
Yes, there is. Where does the hair come out?
They're on the hairs, not like on the skin.
Audra, we did not come here to record this podcast to talk about your eyebrows.
Listen, this is why I got pretty eyebrows. Everyone loves my eyebrows. There's a secret to them. I'm just kidding. I just pulled that out of nowhere. I wipe excess lotion on everything. I also will grab the ends of my hair and wipe lotion on the bottom of that too. Welcome to my life on a Monday morning.
Is it Monday? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I guess we're recording Monday.
It was Sunday. I hate that. It's been a long time since I felt that way.
I have two therapies on Mondays, so I know exactly what day it is.
Ugh.
Back to back. I have one therapy at 11 to 12, and then the next one at 12:15 to 1:15.
That's not a way to wake up on Monday.
Yeah, but Monday's different here in Israel because it's not Monday here. It's technically the second day of the week now because our week starts Sunday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. Oh my God. We have so much to go over today. I feel like we have a lot of things. I don't know if we'll make it to everything, but if not, then Friday we'll have a continuation of some of the topics.
It has been an informative last couple of days, and there's so many things I want to talk about. But how was your weekend?
It was good. I had scheduled my weekend that I finished all the work early Friday morning so that the whole weekend I wouldn't have anything to do and I was able to relax. And then Friday evening, we went for Shabbat to my in-laws. Wait, Audra, do you know what Shabbat is?
Sort of, because we talked the least amount during Friday into Saturday.
Well, because we're not going to get into it fully. Like maybe that will be another episode, but I was just curious into what your perception is, like what you think it is. Tell me.
Okay, so based on some of the things you can and cannot do on Shabbat, the biggest things that I know is that we communicate less, that you're usually at your in-laws, and that you have like 1,900 salads.
All right, we'll have to educate Audra while she teaches me pop culture. I'll have to teach her like Shabbat and all the Jewish, things. But yeah,
because you can't cook, so all there's left is salad. You people eat a lot of salad.
Right, there is no cooking on Shabbat, which is what she's referring to. But moving past that, so yes, we were at my in-laws for Friday night, and there was not 20 salads. There was 11. I counted for you.
That is a lot of salads. That's like 10 salads too many.
Yeah, I mean, but they are in like smaller dishes, but like you can take, a little bit of each and then like eat it with the bread, if that makes sense.
I don't even know 11 different salad recipes. I know classic salad. I know pasta salad. Yep, that's it. Those are the two salads I know how to make.
Well, I guess let's think. There's egg salad, there's eggs and potato salad, there's purple cabbage salad, there's usually green cabbage salad, there's liver, which obviously is not my thing, there's beef salad, there's I'm trying to think what this week we had, eggplant, there was just a regular lettuce with like tomatoes, mushrooms, things like that.
My salad, literally, and my family still makes fun of me, is literally, and I don't even eat this anymore. Because two of the ingredients I can't even eat, but it's lettuce, tomato, and cucumber with salt and pepper. No dressing, no nata, no nothing else. Do not put cheese on there. I'm lactose intolerant. And now I don't eat tomatoes. I avoid them out of my diet, and lettuce as well. Lettuce in moderation, but it's basically just green water that crunches, but not a fan.
I love lettuce. Cucumbers. My mother definitely made that kind of salad. The salt, pepper, lettuce. You would think like, probably doesn't taste like much. Audra, it is the yummiest salad on the planet. That salt, the pepper, put a little garlic powder in, a little olive oil, something like that. It is so good. So I'm going to shout out my mother right there because she did the same thing as you said. And I remember it being fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody else in the world had one because everyone else thought I was weird. And then when they would put raw onions on top of the classic salad, I'd be like, I can't eat it. And they're like, why? I'm like, because now everything tastes like raw onion.
My mother-in-law has a bad habit of cooking a lot of food, and it's not a Jewish thing, although that is not entirely false, but it's a Moroccan thing specifically, and if you think that's a lot, there were no guests there. Okay, so I counted 11 salads, but then there was meat, there was chicken, there was peas and carrots, there was rice, there's like a lot of that kind of food, and usually that's more. So this is actually considered very little. Chicken, meat, rice, carrots and beans.
Wait, like literally when you said peas, carrots, chicken, and rice, I was like, do you ever just throw them all together on your plate and say that she served you Chinese fried rice?
Oh, did I cut them all up and mix them into a big mush? I sure did. I even got the leftovers.
Nice.
Every time I go there, I feel like pressure to like eat a lot of food because she'll like watch me and she'll be like, did you eat this? Did you eat that? Did you eat this? Why didn't you eat that? Why didn't you eat this? And it's like, oh wait, I forgot to mention that she also had fish there too, like 2 kinds of fish as well. And she was like,
wait. What kind of fish?
Every time it's different. Like I think there was like tuna and then there was like calamari. I don't even know what that is. I just heard the word and they were all talking in Hebrew, so I just heard them say that.
Wait, calamari is squid.
Oh, really? So then let's be clear. I don't think it was because I don't think squid's kosher. I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm going to get people in trouble here. I don't know. Okay.
There was just 2 types of fish, people. Do not ask questions.
Let's just say tuna, okay?
Everything can be tuna.
Whatever. She's like, why don't you want it? And let me tell you, her fish is amazing. Like the best fish ever. But if you eat a whole fish, right, because she doesn't just put a little bit on your plate, she'll put it in a whole chunk, right? Then how am I supposed to eat the meat? Then how am I supposed to eat the chicken? What about the other kind of chicken? What about the other kind of meat? What about
Okay, wait a minute.
So much
wait a minute.
Food.
I got a plan. So what you do is you walk around with the smallest spoon that you can find in the house, and you take 1 scoop of every item with that tiny little spoon and put it on your plate. And then you graze by your mother-in-law and be like, see, I took a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it doesn't stop there. She's like, do you want more? Do you want more? She'll watch that. And then when I bring my friends over and then she does it to my friends, I like have to warn them before. Like she will ask you, why didn't you eat things? Just have a strong answer and stick to your answer when you give it to her.
I feel like it's a cultural thing because when one of my daughters was dating somebody who was from Vietnam, well, his mom was. So in Vietnamese culture, they too like to feed you. And I don't really drink alcohol. Like I drink 0. And before I drink very little in general. I've never been really much into alcohol. And they opened up a $400 bottle of wine from their basement, like the wine cellar, legit. And I was like, no, don't do that. They're like, oh, you special guest. And they would say whatever. But they had like a ginormous fish, like the biggest fish. I don't even know what it was, which I love fish. I was all over that. Lobsters and steak in like a whole bunch of sides. And while we were waiting for that to finish cooking, they had fruit and cheeses. And it was like, so I was like, if you keep making me eat dish, and then I literally had like 1 bite of steak, like a piece of a lobster, which I love lobster. Well, who doesn't, right? It's great. And then they were trying to make me eat the fish with the rice wraps that you dip in a liquid. I don't know that it's water or whatever, but it makes it very soluble. And then you wrap up a whole bunch of shredded veggies and fish in it, and then you eat that too. And I'm like, I left so full and nauseated, and I had like a 2-hour drive home. It was like the best, worst meal ever.
circling into why I wanted to talk about my in-laws, my mother-in-law came during the meal and she said that she got this package in the mail. Now, like, my mother-in-law has definitely a habit of online shopping, and she buys a lot of like wish.com kind of things, if you know what I'm saying. Like, and I guess she had ordered head scratchers. You know what I'm talking about?
Of a mouthful of cracker.
Why are you eating crackers while we're podcasting? At least you muted yourself, and now I'm just looking at you and you're chewing on crackers, trying not to choke while laughing. Oh, this is such an inconvenient time. Let me take a drink of my wine. 1 second.
Okay, while you're drinking your wine, if we literally had a game, and if I drank too, that every time we did something silly or had to do a retake on our podcast, we had to take a drink, that would be the funniest episode ever. It would start out nonchalant and be complete crap at the end.
Yeah, we're not exposing how many tries we do on some of these words. Are really hard, y'all. Like, there's some words out there that it is very hard to pronounce.
I don't even care if it's the words and some of the conversations. We could have a whole side conversation for 15 minutes that you guys don't get to hear about because it didn't make it in the editing part.
Yeah, that's because we can't put out 2-hour episodes, which is how long we'll record for, like 2 hours, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes 1.5. I think one time it was 1 hour, and that was really quick. But I had a UTI, and I think I was trying to get that over with.
See, this is the TMI that doesn't get aired.
Okay, well, back to what I was saying before you start eating your cracker. She comes into the room with these head scratchers. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, wait. Is it... As if you all can see me with my hands, but Hadassa
I can see it.
Okay. Is it like long and narrow and it has like spider-like legs and they're wires?
Like a big old daddy long leg.
I got one of those.
Oh, do you use it?
I think the day that I bought it, I used it, which it does feel incredible, but it still feels better when somebody else uses it on you. When you use it on yourself, not the same.
So she comes out. Aurel, my husband, gets super excited. I think he's talked about those things before. She started doing that on my brother-in-law, and he has like longish hair. And so all of a sudden, like, he was just like moaning, literally. There was like definitely like some heavy sighs. What is it? Sighs?
S-I-G-H.
I felt compelled to say sides. Well, so I'm like, how good can this be? My husband's like, get one right over here. He's like, I'm gonna take one. He takes it. He starts, doing it on himself. He's sighing. The whole family's sighing. The brother-in-law is doing it on the mother. There's
happening.
And then Aurel's like, give it to me. I want to try it on my wife, like in Hebrew. And in my head.
Oh, this can't be good. She's laughing already, folks.
I had many thought processes when he was like, yo, like, Hadassa, you have to try this. And I was like, firstly, I'm thinking in my head all this stuff. I can't imagine going from everyone's oily hair onto my hair. It just it didn't sit well for me. And then also the fact, like, social anxiety, like, right? Like, just watching everybody watch me react to, like, how it feels. But bam, I had an excuse. I had just done my hair with a curling iron, so I didn't want to ruin my hair. That's what the excuse I made was.
That's the first thing that came in my head is, I'm not ruining my hair for this.
Right. And then Aurel took one home, so now we have one.
Has he still used it on you yet?
Oh, he did it? Yeah, he tried. Once my hair got a little messed up, yeah.
The one that I have, it's really, really, these little legs on this thing are like 8 inches long, and I'm so afraid that you're going to come down the forehead if someone's doing it to you and stab me in the eyeball.
Oh,
so you can only use like the little bit of it because the more you push it down, the longer they go. And my head's only so big, I guess.
When I worked at Spencer's, now this story is for people who want to hear the story. If not, you're not even gonna notice that this story's happening. But
hit that 30-second button.
Yeah, hit the 30-second button if you don't want to hear this. But in the back of Spencer's, there's some toys back there for certain purposes, and back there was where we kept this. We had one. I think it was a little longer than what I had here. I just assumed it was a toy, to be honest. I didn't know about this. No one told me about these hair massagers, right? And so I went my whole 2 years of working at Spencer's thinking that was a toy. But the question is what would the toy be? Because
Wait, is that considered, is it considered erotic?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it was, but I went a few years thinking that way and I didn't know what it was for. To be honest, I thought it was supposed to be for like the downstairs area.
Okay, this conversation just took a sharp left. No. Hey, no. Oh my heavens, no. I don't know why you thought that. What?
All right, let's jump off of this topic. I told you we had a lot of things to go over. Now, this one is very important, and it is the Clubhouse app. So some of you who are listening might know what that is, and therefore this quick explanation won't really matter to you. But if you haven't heard of it, basically, I was listening to Reality Steve, who's like a blogger. He vlogs like spoilers for The Bachelor. They were talking about this Clubhouse app, and basically it's like sounds all exclusive, but it's in beta mode, so this is why not everybody has access to it. And it's basically like a audio, like a big old conference call, okay? And it's like social media if it was like audio based, like just with your voice. Is that a good explanation? Like, Audrey, what would you say?
Yeah. No, 100%. I feel like you're right on board.
In order to get in, you have to be invited from someone who is on the app as well. And once you get in, you have 2 invites and you can invite 2 more people and then they have 2 invites and whatever. So yeah, it's spreading. There's like definitely over 1 million people. I can't remember exactly how many they said was on it already, but over 1 million for sure. Maybe over a few million. I don't know. But as soon as I heard Reality Steve talk about it, I was like, hello, I'm jealous. Like, get me in. I want to be in this. So I Googled everything. Audrey, I stalked the internet to find an invite code. I went on Reddit and I tried to join like these Reddit subreddits or whatever we call them. I don't even know. I don't even use Reddit. I just downloaded it for this basically. And I went into Facebook groups. People were selling them for like $10, $20. It was this whole thing.
Wait, they're selling their invites?
Yeah, because it's so exclusive. Everybody wants to get in. So I did something because I was curious. I wanted more information. So I made a post in our B team group and I said like, y'all, what is this group? How do I get in? Kind of thing. And somebody messaged me and she invited me. With that, I invited, Audra and another friend. And we hope that that friend will invite 2 of our other friends and Audra will invite maybe 2 of our other friends, so I'm hoping that we can get everybody on. But it's very interesting. Like, I mean, Audra, I'm going to let you say that, how interesting it was, because I'll tell you, but I know you were on it a lot.
As soon as you told me about it and I downloaded it, we had a conversation. I was in my vehicle, passenger, just to let you know. And not that I don't have Bluetooth, but nonetheless. And as soon as we got done talking about it, I went into the room the minute we hung up, and it was called Daily Habits for High Performers. Blown away. There was 1.3K people, which was a room that had the most amount of people in it. Because I kind of scrolled down through and I wanted some good feedback, and I have social anxiety, so I like to be like in the back of the room where no one can see me and no, I'm not going to raise my hand and ask a question.
Oh yeah, that's another thing is you can raise your hand and they virtually, and then they invite you on to like the stage, quote unquote, to talk. But also there's no video, so it's just voice.
And you can see, kind of like a Zoom call, like who's not proficient in Zoom at this point, you can see who's talking and everyone else is muted. And so somebody will come on. Well, here's the thing. They start the conversation and then they'll ask somebody for a question. That's where you come up and you're speaker. You're up on stage, you ask your question, and then one of the people, whether it's a moderator or somebody else in the group, will answer your question or give you feedback. There was so much good conversation. I literally listened to it for almost 2 hours, maybe 2.25 hours straight. Mm-hmm. Like in the car, loving everything that I heard, didn't want to shut it off, but somebody else in the vehicle could have been getting a headache because he doesn't have Bluetooth and we had to use it through the radio. So there was a hair bit of staticky noise that was kind of driving him nuts. Not to mention names or anything, but it was the best thing. And then like I had so many things, but I couldn't write anything down because I was in a vehicle. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know I was going to be so blown away. And then I get home, I reach out to Hadassa. She tells me she's in one. What was the one that you invited me to?
It was a podcasting one.
Okay. Yes. So I go into that one and then we're chatting back and forth. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they just mentioned this. And she's over there. Oh, I've already written that down. I'm like, game on. Like, again, so informative and so amazing. And like, I think because there's no video, I might be more apt to ask a question because you literally you say your name, you ask your question, and you say, I'm so and so at the end, and I'm done talking. And then they'll answer, and you get the most raw feedback. I mean, you get feedback from people who have long backgrounds and whatever it is, and you can
like
follow
real
them.
professionals.
Yeah, you can follow each person. And then some of them will say, I will DM you directly. And then that is just like another way to make connections, but it's all to gain knowledge and experience and whatever you want to be proficient or knowledgeable in. And
yeah, or if you don't want something knowledgeable, you can find things that aren't. Like they have everything there. And once it gets open to the public, it will be even more like that. And funny fact, I was on a different one later. I didn't even think that Audra was there. And then all of a sudden, like, basically it was like this sales pitch kind of thing. I don't know. I don't want to speak, so I don't really know. But it's like people can like pitch their like business idea, their small business ideas or something. So I was on there just because, I don't know, I was like going through different ones. And then all of a sudden I hear the guy say like, well, I just want to welcome in Audra. And I'm like, I know who Audra is.
Right. As you're thinking that and hearing that, I'm literally clicking on it and I hear my name. My screen isn't even fully uploaded yet. And I'm like, somebody's already talking about me. What just happened?
Yeah, they're like, welcome to the newest member, Audra. And I was like, oh my God. All right. Well, so I don't know. I think that we might want to give it a go. Maybe we get on like once a week. We pick a time once a week, then we work consistent and we go on it and make a group and we can have conversations of real life about whatever we're going through that week. Or if we want to talk about positivity or self-growth. What do you say, Audra? Maybe we can get Josh on and maybe he can do it with us. What do you say?
I would love it. I mean, people are from all over the world. There were people in Barbados. There were people in the Dominican Republic. There were people in Ireland. I mean, every nationality and broken English all over the place. But it was also fantastic because they would say, can you repeat the question in one sentence? And then they would say it. And like all these people had so much information to give. I would love another conversation on another platform where people give us some feedback and some information that we hadn't known. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. I definitely want to do this.
Maybe Friday we'll announce what our plans are for that. Does that sound good, Audra?
Yeah, I love it.
Let's get off the Clubhouse topic because I know we can talk about that for a while. And we do need a little bit more time to check out the app, because I know there's a lot more I want to see. So Friday we'll talk more about that, like we said. All right, Audra, I have this brain, what do you call it? Like a light bulb moment?
An aha moment?
No, but it's like a light bulb. Maybe a aha, I don't know, whatever. I've been thinking about it for the past few days, but I've been waiting till we podcasted to bring it up to you. But I don't know where it came from. I definitely know I've had this thought in my past when I was younger, but maybe less as an adult. And I think it might benefit people to hear this because it's benefited me to go through this thought process. So hear me out. So I'm going to read you a sentence and I'll explain it and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah, I'm game.
So
I'm curious.
The sentence, the one I wrote on my notes just to like have it, but I didn't write out the whole thing. I just wrote the sentence is be a vacation to someone when they're talking to you. So my first thought is like, what does that mean, right? Like be a vacation to someone. Here's how it goes. I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it, but I'll just say it from my perspective on how it is when I talk to other people. So I have social anxiety. I am kind of shy and I have just generalized anxiety, like just, raise your hand if you can relate to me. Oh, everybody put your hands down. I see them all. But basically, when I talk to people, like sometimes it's like a more stressful interaction because you're wondering like what they're thinking or if they're judging you or like maybe they're a little bit more, is it type A is the word where like they're a little more like closed off or whatever it is. And it's usually not a bad thing. It's just usually how their personality, how they carry their personality, I guess you would say. So, you can talk to someone and it be like a nerve-wracking experience versus like sometimes when you meet someone and they instantly bring this like refreshing feeling over you and you can feel more comfortable when talking to them. And maybe it's like their energy, if they're smiling more, maybe it's their personality type. There are those personalities where they're like comforting to talk to, where it's like you may judge a book by its cover. You might see them and think like maybe they're one way, but when you talk to them, they're really personable. They're not judgy. They smile more. They're calmer. You know what I mean? Does this make sense so far?
So it sounds like when you're conversing with someone to be their calm.
Well, if you can recognize those people who make you feel calmer, your goal can be, or I guess I can say my goal is going to be more intentional to make them feel that way when they're talking to me. Let's say you're in a conversation and you spend a lot of time thinking like, what is this person saying? Is she feeling, does she understand me? Like, what did she just say? What did she really mean this? Is she really saying that? That happens a lot in texting. It's like, oh, what does she mean? I see this, but what does she actually mean? Right? Instead of going through that mental process when hearing someone talk, turn that around, turn that right back to you. And instead of focusing your energy on so-and-so and what they're saying, be more intentional about being a vacation when people talk to you. So when they talk to you, they don't have to worry, what is she thinking? Because they see you. They don't have to worry whether or not you are listening to them or whether or not you're paying attention or whether or not you understand them or you're judging them. You should intentionally make it very clear that they have nothing to worry about there. And how do you do that? You can start by actually listening to them, right? And not thinking. You can have a calm presence with like more of a smiley reaction. And if you're not that type, if you're an RBF kind of gal, then or guy, because there's like 10% of guys in here, maybe less. But if you are that kind of person, then you can just make it a little bit more intentional to like look a little bit more inviting when it comes to this conversation. And then also there's making the person feel empowered. And this is not a sales trick. Okay. This is really truly making another person feel more comfortable. So if you are intentional in making the conversation or the experience or the time be an opportunity to make the person you're talking to feel valued, that will go a whole long way, because not only will they leave feeling comfortable, but they will feel empowered themselves, and they'll always remember your conversation as like something that made them feel good.
I definitely, and it's not to toot my own horn, but I do take pride in trying to give whomever I'm conversing with my full attention. At the same time, having social anxiety, I can be somewhat standoffish to initiate a conversation. But if somebody is expressing outwardly something that maybe is happening to them and they're looking for feedback, let's say, just as an example, and I give them something which is deemed powerful information to them, they feel that strength and they walk away with their head held high in that can-do attitude. And
but
then
you can't say empowered. You can say it. Why not? What's wrong with saying empowered?
Well, because then you feel like you're repeating. But like if you say something empowering and somebody walks away feeling empowered, it makes you feel really, really good, right? You walk away and you're like, oh, I feel like in some small way I might have helped this person. When that person comes back to you, whenever it may be, a day, a week, an hour, a month, a year, who cares? And they say to you, the words that you say to me come into my head when this situation arises. It is like the biggest compliment, because it resonated with them and they remembered it. And you might not even have remembered what you said to that person. Maybe got the gist of it, but you don't remember exactly the words, but it stuck with that person and it made them change whatever their mood was or their thought process. And that is like I said, that is the biggest compliment that somebody can give. And it's just by having honest, real conversations, being present and giving them that vacation kind of vibe.
I feel like I give the best advice ever. And when I know people take it, I'm like, did she really take my advice?
Wait, I love that, because I feel like I'm a good advice giver as well. But do we take our own advice?
I don't think perfectionism is like realistic in this case. So I would say like, are we perfect at it? That might be up for a question, but I feel like when people give me advice, I take it very well. And I also don't speak out of my bottom, if that makes sense. If I'm giving someone advice, like I'm not just saying it just to say it. Like I actually believe it. And if you want to take it, you think it will be beneficial. And if you don't, I wouldn't be offended, right? I mean, I'm nobody, right? Like I'm not, I just feel like I give good advice. And maybe it's me being empathetic, or maybe it's me, I don't know. Do I need a reason? I guess not.
Is our advice from our life situations that we've already gone through, our thought processes, our whatever they may be? Or are they advice that, well, we're saying it outwardly to other people, kind of brings them up. And then maybe like we're also outwardly speaking to ourselves all at the same time. And we're still taking away something that we've said, even though it was meant for somebody else.
Not everybody wants advice all the time. When someone comes to you with a problem, you ask them, do you want advice or do you want me to listen?
Oh, I definitely have on the quote when somebody comes up with a problem or a situation. And I have it written on the board. Are you looking for a solution or are you looking for comfort? And if you just ask yourself that, or ask the person that's approaching you what they're looking for, it's just a better way to communicate. And then you're more likely going to give them an answer that they want to hear. Because let me tell you, sometimes when people come up with a situation, they just want to vent. They don't really care what you have to say. They just want to vent and get it off their chest, and then they move on.
This is definitely true. I've definitely asked that many times, because there's certain times where I don't want advice and I'm trying to talk, aka every time I talk to my husband. Oh, maybe you should do this. Oh, maybe you should do that. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thank you. But I want to go back to my point, because I feel like my light bulb moment is being overshone by this next point. Overshone? What is it? Overshone?
You just got to shine brighter.
Okay, fine. Shining right now. You don't know when somebody is anxious. You don't know when somebody has depression. You don't know when somebody has social anxiety when you talk to them, when you just meet them. So while you are having a conversation with someone, be a vacation for them. Make them feel like they don't have to worry about you judging them or things like that. And if you're in your head thinking, oh, why did she say things like that? Why did she say it in that tone of voice? Why did she use that emoji? Why is this? Why is that? Then you're not doing it right. Was there like a comment or two that you've done where it's like, well, she said this, but does she really mean it that way? I mean, that's just human beings, though. That's normal. Like, I mean,
I think I've dwelled on things from like 100 years ago. I'm like, this person doesn't like me because I think it was because of this situation, because I said this or they said that.
Okay. We all are victim to this, and I feel, or maybe not victim. We're all guilty of this. When I feel like when I was younger, I was so much better at this. I always made that my mission to be a person that people feel comfortable with. So I always was very homey to people. The problem was when I started paying bills and getting older and living on my own and being in like the adult world is when I started building up walls because of trust, and then building up like anxieties because of not knowing what people's pure intentions are, plus social anxiety, plus being 18 and living on my own and being confused. So like, I feel like having this aha moment brought me back to a time in my life. It wasn't a new thing for me. It just brought me back to a time in my life where I have been intentional about that, and people will feel comfortable around you. You will have better relationships with people because they'll never have to wonder like what you're thinking about, and then you think like, oh, but what about my intuition? What about me when I talk, having to read their body language and diagnose them and all those things that we all freaking do. Okay, we all do it. We all diagnose the people in front of us, and we all try to nitpick at what they're saying and what they're doing with their hands. Well, guess what? Not everything is mental illness. Not everything is judgeable. Sometimes people have habits with the way they touch their hair, or the way they are nervous or have a little stutter. There's people that don't smile as much that are still, or not, if not more friendlier than any person you'll ever meet. That's just a thing. Let's stop judging the people. Let's stop analyzing. And you'll realize that if you spend more time focusing on how you are, and not how you are, but how you're being received or how you're making someone else feel. Okay, I guess that's the best way. If you spend more time focusing on how you're making another person feel, you'll spend less time focusing on them, and nobody will know that you're having this like intention, but you will come across as someone they feel comfortable and a likable person. And it's not a sales trick. It is not a sales trick. Don't do this if you're not serious about it. Don't do it to sell things. If you want to do that, that's a whole other topic. But do it to build like relationships with people who want to feel comfortable with you,
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's a sales trick. I mean, what are you selling? Love, kindness, respect?
You see these days people reading like, and I read them too, so whatever, but how to win friends and influence others, or like body language books or things like that. And they all are almost learning how to be like a really likable person. So like that always takes me to the pyramid scheme conversation that we're not even ready for yet. We'll have it a different time later on down the road. But
I don't even read books that like make me want to do something.
What do you mean?
I don't read books to really better myself. That sounds horrible, but like I read things that like help me regroup myself and help me make a better version of myself, but for myself, not for other people. Like I don't care how many people
I'm not talking
socially
about
involved.
you. Although
No,
you
I
have done a
know.
pyramid scheme or two. I'm not talking about you.
Hey, wait. That's another episode. Okay. I was in my 20s.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Don't worry. Okay. Don't worry. I have that in my pocket. Okay.
But I mean, like my self-help books are to encourage help within myself. And just some of the ones that you read off, I feel like maybe they were geared towards how yourself can help others and maybe their perception of you.
It's not about your image. It really isn't. It's about letting someone else feel comfortable with you. It's being a person like that someone can feel comfortable with. Tell me how important it is for us to have people in our lives that bring you comfort and not the other way around. There's too many people out there that are playing games with you, or like, and I don't mean like, oh, it's just playing with me, whatever. I'm talking about like, passive aggressive. Okay, there's too much passive aggressive, and I've seen it. The most I've seen it was since I started this Facebook group and being in touch with a lot of people and like talking to a lot of people. And you see a lot of passive aggressive. You're not going to find that from me. I'm very direct, almost to a flaw, but I'm working on it.
For me, I could benefit a lot from the little tidbits from just what you were saying. And also I have that mentality of people either like me or they don't like me. They either realize that my quirkiness is only to bring them up in spirits and not because I'm not as intelligent.
Floozy.
What?
Yeah, I said floozy because I get the same thing.
Yeah.
People think like us being nice, like imagine you in America. I'm here in Israel. Me being nice is like, I'm like a cheap, dumb person.
Yeah, like she's, ditzy, I think was a term back in the day.
Okay, I use floozy. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Okay, I think floozy is more scandalous there, dear, but you do you.
Yeah, ditzy is the word.
So, but I think that people just find you less educated or perceived that way, which is so not correct. And I couldn't tell you how many times this has happened in my life. And it's like, I just like to surround myself with happiness and happy people around me. I just shake my head because I'm like, this person or these couple of people who feel that way, and they make it very well known they feel that way, have no idea that I'm laughing harder on the inside than they are on the outside
at you. Yeah. It's hard because I don't know if I want to get into this yet, but there's a lot of culture difference as well when it comes to this. And me being like a smiley person actually is taken for weakness, and like me wanting to be professional in like a workplace environment is taken as like a complainer or like causing problems, versus like this just whatever. It's a different culture. That's why I don't want to get into it, because I don't feel like I want to misrepresent the place I live in based off of my experiences. So that's why you won't hear me talking as much about like the issues I run in here in Israel, because I feel like I don't want to speak for for everyone's journey here. But I do feel misunderstood a whole lot because people really think I'm like so dumb here. And I'm fine with that, only because I know my self-worth. I can't say I've always known my self-worth, okay? But I can tell you I know it now. And that all started once I stopped feeling so isolated, once I had the B team group, once I had this podcast, once I have the friendships that I have, like just the people surrounding me now. I'm very lucky. I like to make people feel comfortable. I like to make the other person in the conversation feel important. I also like to make them feel a little bit of humor and a little bit like make them smile. And it's not fake, and it's also not making me dumb. And if you don't understand that, I don't care, because there's so many people like me. I feel like if some of the people in the world don't understand me, like they did in, elementary school, because they didn't understand me, there's other people. Like now we're adults. So now we know that we have a community of people that are like that, like us. And like the B team group is a lot of people like us as well.
Oh, hands down. In workplace environments are, I feel like, the number one place where I've encountered that different perception on the workplaces where I have been perceived to be one way or another. And that's just an error on their part that they didn't get to know me as a whole. They just took one moment of time and developed that into a personality.
Funny that you say that, because earlier when you were saying the story, when we were talking about Clubhouse, you were saying how you were in the car and you like made it a point to say that you were in the passenger seat so that if anyone would judge you for driving while on your phone or whatever it is. And I was thinking when you're talking, which actually goes against what I just preached right a second ago, because I said not to think while someone else is talking, but whatever. See, we're not perfect. We never said
we're working on it.
Right. Well, we're not working on being perfect. We're working on being a bit above and better. But I thought about this and I was like, Audra, like, don't give yourself disclaimers. Like when you'll say stories sometimes on the podcast about like a wedding you've been to or this or that, I don't even know. You'll be like, oh, it was before Corona, or like, oh, you traveled for your birthday. And you're like, oh, before Corona. I was like, and I see this a lot on like TikTok or like other videos. People have to write, before Corona, before. And I get it because some people are like, whoa, where's your masks? But like, you don't have to explain to anyone what seat in the car that you were in, because nobody should just be judging you like that. I don't care if someone's listening to this now and is judging you for that. I don't care.
No, I get
why
that.
Should you care?
I guess it's because that was what the norm was before. But no, you're totally right. I do put a lot of disclaimers out there, and I think that is because of having been judged in the past and always having to like defend yourself.
I'm trying to encourage you not to have to have to disclaim yourself in a sense. I get it though. While you say that, I do understand it because I've also been judged my whole life. I've learned, especially with the B team group, and I don't mean to talk like any negativity about it because obviously the whole point of it is from positivity, but we do deal with a lot of negativity that other people don't see just because that's our job to moderate that page and to make sure that people don't see it. But I feel like I'm constantly being quote unquote attacked for like basically anything I would post, anything that I would do. Like people are always like coming at me for like every little decision I make. And I feel that over time, like you just have to look at life and not have to disclaim yourself, not have to like, you don't owe anyone anything. You, Audra, do not owe anyone an explanation of where you were sitting in the car when you were on your phone. I don't owe anyone an explanation on what happens in my group. If I give it, then why wouldn't I give it? I don't mind like being informative, but I just don't owe it to anyone. It's not like I get it, like, oh, America, freedom of speech or amendments or whatever it is. This is not America. This is a Facebook group. I guess I do have like inner feelings about that, obviously, because I feel like I spend a lot of my time and energy on this. I feel like at some point, like, people start like expecting, not everybody, of course, obviously there's some, like, I feel like most people understand it, but then, there are like a handful of people that just have like expectations from us, forgetting that it's like a private group and it's not like there's like an amendment in it. It's not like you have like the Bill of Rights in our group. You know what I mean?
Like a code of conduct.
Yeah, I don't even mean to complain.
That is not a complaint. You are just stating real life. You are stating the fact that you have a group. It has a set of rules. If somebody breaks a rule, they're removed or they get commented on or whatever. And the feedback that you get from that may not necessarily be positive. It will probably be negative, but that's okay. It's on them to understand it and change it on their perception, or they move forward and go somewhere else. That's not up to you.
I didn't want to bring it up because I don't want to display the group in a bad light in any way, but it is hard some days. Like, it's not an easy thing. It's a very, very hard work to run. Again, not complaining. I'm very grateful and appreciative to have a group with like-minded people that we can enjoy the same thing. But, some days it's hard. Some messages I get is pretty gut-wrenching.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, there was definitely a time not too long ago that somebody didn't care for something that you had said. It's going to be generalized. Somebody doesn't like what you have to say, and they give you feedback, and then you feel personally emotional about their feedback. Okay. And then that person is emotionally geared towards whatever they're feeling about it. And then they can do whatever with it thereafter. Do they make bad decisions from time to time? There's a few people that I'm sure have.
Are
there some people who are like, hey, I didn't think of that. Or, yeah, they're right. This is the case scenario. This is the feedback I got from them. Yep, I understand what they're saying. I'll reword something this way, or I'll post something about this instead. And they'll take that negative and make it into a positive. And those are the type of people that you want to surround yourself with. Those who take a negative and continue to take the and make it negative. Those are the people you do not want to surround yourself with.
You're right. I mean, I complain, but at the end of the day, like, it's fine. My feelings are not hurt. And yeah, I know.
It's not a complaint. It's real life. This is your real life. You created something that blew up, and we get like 500 new followers every week. I mean, it is insane. And for you to be on top of that and to keep it positive day after day after day, 7 days a week, there are no breaks. There are no days off. It isn't like you're going to a job working some 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 with weekends off and holidays. And
benefits. There's no benefits.
Benefits. That's a whole nother subject. But all the things you don't have any of that. And you're literally doing this out of the kindness of your heart. And you are literally, quote unquote, it is March, pimpin' joy.
It's definitely one of those days. But at the end of the day, like, it's not my life. It's just a little bit of it. It's a part. It's a lot of time, though. But it's not the importance of my life is my family, is the podcast, it's my friendships. And that's really like my main focus these days. And the group is just something that is exciting and fun and positive.
Absolutely. You start and end the day on a positive note, and you've had a successful day.
All right, so let's recap what this episode was today. So we started off with my mother-in-law buying a hair scratcher and her 11 salads. And then we talked about the Clubhouse app. We are definitely going to retouch on that on Friday, so look out for that. And as we come up with a little bit of a plan on what we want to use Clubhouse for. And then we talked a whole lot about my aha moment of being a comfort to someone, being a vacation to someone when they're talking to you. So next time you're talking to someone, just be mindful, look inwards and ask yourself if you're making that person feel comfortable. Are you intentionally making that person feel comfortable? Thank you for listening to this episode of A Bit Above Pod. I want to first remind everyone that we want to hear your stories and we want you to have a voice on our platform. We started this podcast in order to give us a voice, and we want to use that so that we can have other people come on and share their stories, whether it's unique or if it's something that's relatable to a lot of people. We want to hear from you. So if you ever thought, I would love to share my story with people, then find us on social media at A Bit Above Pod or email us at abitabovepod@gmail.com and share us your story, and we may invite you onto the podcast. Subscribe to our podcast to receive notifications when new episodes come out. We put out episodes every Wednesday and Friday, so look out for that. The next episode comes out on Friday, so we'll see you then.